Okay, great. That was really beautiful. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
I just said, like, distract them, and she went with it.
I didn't dance salsa, so I think everyone
So it could have been worse.
missed the bullet. Yeah, or better.
Thank you guys so much for coming out today and spending like an hour, or hopefully not much more longer than an hour of your day. All of you, most of you are working professionals, so we know time is really important, especially right now. So, as you all know, this is an emergency meeting. As you probably know what's happening, I don't really want to get into details because I'm assuming you guys know why we called this. And so first we're going to have Ahmed Rehab, the Executive Director of CAIR Chicago, give a little bit more context, because I know we're hearing things on the media, but that doesn't always translate into like the personal stories, you know, and it doesn't always translate into why we're actually doing this and what we're doing right now. So he's going to do that, and then right after we're going to break up into our committees. So for those of you, this is your first time here, you can still join committees based on your skill sets. So we have, under communications, we have 2 committees. We have the social media marketing, and so that kind of is what we're going to be producing on our social media. And so if you have skills relating to marketing, psychology, things like that. And we also have like a visual, so if anyone does graphic design, videography, photography, then that's the visual communication committee. Zani, who's just taking that phone right now, is our operations coordinator, and she has a fundraising and money committee. So obviously right now, we need all the money we can get, and so if anyone has experience in fundraising, is passionate, has a lot of rich friends. And we also have a legal committee, so people who are attorneys currently, or can do legal work, have done legal work, can join that committee. Sedania will also be co-hosting that committee right now, because our attorney currently is a little sick, so he wasn't able to stay for this. And then we have Gerald, right here, who is our operations coordinator.
Oh?
Sorry. Outreach coordinator, and he also has a committee about government affairs. No, I'm just really nervous.
There's no need to be.
About government affairs, so mobilizing the Muslim outreach, mobilizing the Muslim community to kind of be more engaged with contacting representatives, writing letters to the editors, and things like that. And then also social media and communications also has a writing aspect, so if you're a writer also. So yeah, and if you don't have a committee, feel free to find any of us and join and we'll break right after Ahmed speaks. So is everyone good? Thank you again for coming. And
well, thank you again for coming. It is a real pleasure to have you all here. Just looking at this amazing number of people that responded to our call so quickly. Reminds us again about, I normally talk about a tale of 2 Americas, and we're seeing one America represented by the current administration and another by people like you who are always there to assist communities that are vulnerable in this current situation, in this current environment. It's not just the Muslim community, African Americans, Latinos, LGBTQ people, the disabled women, you name it, they feel under threat. And this is a time for us to band together and represent the values that we believe are the foundational values of this country, to challenge this threat that is basically trying to divide, vilify, sabotage, and scapegoat communities. One of the many executive orders, it seems now that when you log online, it's kind of like, what did Trump do now type of thing. But the most recent, one of the most recent executive orders that you may have heard of, I'm sure it's all over the media, is what we call the Muslim ban. They call something along the lines of fighting terrorism, but what it essentially is sort of phase 1 of a Muslim ban. So I wanted to quickly give you our understanding of it, how it has affected our communities, what we're doing about it, and how you can help. Our understanding of this is that, well, what it is actually is banning people based on their national origins. So it's this wide dragnet that's cast on people, regardless of who they are, regardless of their background, regardless of whether they're vetted or not, and saying you can't come here. And there are 2 ways to do security. Think of security as a filter. You can filter out the good from the bad, and all the measures and statutes and procedures go in towards that direction, or you can filter out the Muslim from the non-Muslim, or the Syrian from the non-Syrian, or the Iraqi from the non-Iraqi. We believe that the former is the right way to do security, based on individual profiles, red flags, things that are unique to that person, suspicious behavior, etc., and that the latter is discriminatory. It isn't security, it doesn't work, it doesn't help make us more secure, and it actually does discriminate against people based on national origin or religion. Also, in attempting to validate this executive order, his talking heads have said that it is okay for us to say we want more Christian refugees than Muslim refugees, because by the nature of refugees, minorities, religious minorities, face more threat. But if you look in the case of Syria or Iraq, for example, two of the countries listed, the threat is not Muslim versus Christian. This setup is not accurate on the ground. Muslims persecuting Christians. It is ISIS and the dictatorships, in the case of Syria, Assad, persecuting everybody. And because that is the case, the majority of the population being Muslim, there are more Muslims who are threatened by this. And ISIS actually targets more Sunni Muslims than Shia, Yazidi, or Christian, as does Assad by the nature of the opposition. So it's a cute talking point, but it doesn't apply in reality. Not to mention, we do have an establishment clause that mentions that our government will not discriminate based on religion, and refugees ought to be looked at as equal opportunity. It's a case-by-case basis on the gravity of the situation and not the religious identity of the refugee. So we have major problems that are constitutional, that are establishment clause. We filed a lawsuit yesterday, which is a major lawsuit, and Washington State is the first state to file its lawsuit, also alleging non-constitutionality. So that's on the legal sphere. On the legislative, we're working to introduce a bill through members of Congress that we know to challenge this in Congress. Even if it doesn't work, it's important to have Congress challenge this. Just as the Attorney General, the acting Attorney General who was just fired, did and was fired for that. But in doing so, she staked a very clear stance on behalf of the Department of Justice. So the legislative is another important aspect. Media, we're doing a lot of media, not just to bring those talking points out, but to shed light on the faces and of the humans behind this whole debate. This isn't just a legal jargon type of debate. This is about people whose lives are being disrupted. We can talk to you about many examples. The example of a PhD student from Iran who's excelling at Stanford, goes on vacation or goes to visit his family, and suddenly is barred from coming back and completing his PhD. For no other reason, given officially, than he being Iranian. No security issues, no red flags, no specific profile problems, you're just Iranian. A situation where a Syrian lady was coming to visit her mom after her mom's surgery, cancer surgery. She had a valid visa. She was vetted. Visas are not given, randomly. She went through the interviews. She showed that she had a connection to her homeland, all the things that you do at a visa interview. She got her legal paperwork. She had a return ticket for 1 week. She'd be staying here for 1 week. She had a letter from the Cancer Institute, all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. But she was still turned away, and she was forced to go back to Saudi Arabia, where she lives, where she was traveling from. And we couldn't get her in. This was before the order to stay, the executive order from the court in New York. We have teams on the ground of attorneys. You may have seen in the media, or you may have visited O'Hare and seen that by the McDonald's in Terminal 5, there's this amazing site of 24 to 30 attorneys who are volunteering their time pro bono, hunched over laptops with paperwork, trying to figure out who's coming and how they can assist them, while some of them are walking around the airport with signs, if you need an attorney, come with me, trying to look at people who look distressed. An amazing, amazing sight of people just taking the initiative, the bulls by the horn, and just going out there to help other people. There were protests outside the airport as well. This goes for O'Hare, it goes for other airports, so movement outside, movement inside. There's a lot of resistance, a lot of resilience. And that is what we need to do to ensure that we don't end up being a crazy dictatorship where people at the top end up doing what they want to do without a fight from us. So this organization, CAIR Chicago, is very much in the middle of all of these things. And by extension, as our volunteers, You're helping us in this cause, and we're very grateful for that. The committees that we have, they get to work directly in research, in social media, in graphic design to support these types of things and the legal aspect of it. Lastly, we are creating a project that will launch very soon that will streamline all of this. People can just log on and enter their travel information. It goes into the back-end system. It appears as on a calendar for the attorneys in the airport, and they can process these people as they come. Also, we have an attorney form on that same new website. Those who want to volunteer to be at the airport and help out, they can volunteer to be part of our new initiative called the CAIR Chicago Attorney Corps. So lots of things going on. Again, very grateful for your presence. Some of you were there in an earlier meeting. Some of you here for the first time. The way that things are going to go today is we're going to break up in these committees, and